specs. What we found out was the 2D custom line style, like in utility case, was they had 200 custom line style, and for me to do 30 in roadway, to redo them from scratch, it took me 2 weeks to do. Imagine doing 200. So it was like a showstopper for them to convert custom line styles to ORD, rescaled. But we found out in microstation update 14, they have a utility to rescale and re-import the custom line style and can convert them like less than a minute. So we used that utility in microstation update 14 to convert all of the unit custom line style. Another thing we're looking at is too the DGN library versus resource file. So the DGN Labs, we're using DGN Labs now because it is more portable. I guess when you send somebody a DGN file, if that person did not have our workspace, you would also need to send them the resource file, because the resource file links that custom line style to that file. But if you use a DGN library and you send that person with those custom line style, you just send that person a DGN, because the DGN library, if you create a new element and so forth, with the new library, when you create new, it's save an active file. So you no longer have to send them this, it's save an active file. So it's kind of advantageous for do it this way. Plus, we had to store this at the NCDOT top level. So all libraries are here now. It's converted from V8 as DGN libraries. And there's a documentation that should be in your files Dropbox there that explain how I convert these to ORD and using custom nonstop. Now, there's resource files that you still need resource file to edit and modify the line styles. So that's why I have backup here. But I mean, there's a somewhat a conundrum that we face here at the development level here. I thought I had put. I don't want that. But there's a conundrum that we face here, that what do we do with existing files that has already line styles already in them? Because this is not automatic. Even if we use a DGN library, those custom line styles still link. It's not saved. There's a manual way to save those custom line styles. You have to import the resource file into the active file, and it will be saved in that file, but that's not automatic. And also we found out when we rescale our library, the custom line style library, the existing files that already have the line styles already, need to, be modified a little bit with the model scale, how we reference it and so forth. That, you know, it's a conundrum. And I had a slide here explaining what our options are, but I just can't find it. I think it's in the drop window there. Um, okay, so that's what you have to do as bare minimum is custom line styles, uh, cells, and levels. Um, there's if you want to use ORD in its full capacity, you would each unit must also further develop uh, their element templates, feature definition, text styles, text favorite, and annotation groups. And that's something that we're working with other units on. If you want to do, you know, take full advantage of the modeling and plans production capability of ORD, you must develop these other items, further advance them. And the last thing I want to talk about is the workspace version checker. We can, feature upgrades will also give you an indication what MicroStation version, ORD version is installed. So I'll show you just a brief demo of how to get that information on your mind. Because most of the time, you get troubleshoot calls. The first thing we ask is what workspace version do you have installed? What MicroStation version, what ORD version are you using? So it'd be nice just to click a button and tells me what it is. Okay, so it should be under pick my workspace first. And you can do this from any file here. Okay, so here it's under the workflow NCDOT here, and this is the version checker. So if you are just hit that button, it tells you, this Connect Workspace version 2020 R2 6.2. So in the future, I'm going to tell you what MicroStation version is installed and also the ORD version. So we get that information right there on top. Okay. That's to end my presentation. I'll hand it over to Jeff Garland to funnel any questions we may have.
Great. And thank you so much, Oak. And thank you, everyone, for attending. And I know we're right up against 1 o'clock, but certainly we would love to address a few questions, either general or specific, if we can today. We can also table those and get back to you later if we can't address it with the folks we have on the call here. But just to open it up, I know we've had some questions in the chat, and so I certainly appreciate those. But if anyone wants to, I guess, raise the hand function works. And Brian, with NCLUG, feel free to help me kind of field through these questions or how to go through them if you want, as far as facilitating. But let's just open it up and see who's got any questions.
I think there's one in the chat. Were there any NCDOT.dgnlib elements, feature definitions, annotations, so on, that had to be redone when Bentley updated the latest Connect ORD version, or did everything translate without issue?
And
we didn't.
go ahead, Oak.
We didn't have any issues with it. We are in the process working with Emory and location surveys to reorganize the feature definitions element template to make more sense and more you can navigate it more easily. But as far as the conversion from the last ORD to this, no, we didn't have any issues.
Yeah, and that's correct. And just some additional information along those lines, in coordination with Bentley, we do expect the new ORD release. It will be the 2020 R3 as early as next month, but they have guarantee within Q4, so it may be November or at the latest December, and we'll certainly test that out again based on that major release of ORD.
I do have one question for me. On the workspace, I know it's being constantly evolving, updating. As a consultant community, how do we keep up with that? Is it being posted on the website? Is it a certain interval when the workspace is being updated so we can download it?
And Brian, just to chime in, this is Jeff. That's an excellent question. We do have an external facing ORD web presence on our NCDOT Connect business site. And once we have information about what we're going to post officially as far as the NCDOT Connect workspace, we'll certainly put information out there. And then additionally, it will certainly be where it is traditionally located on the roadway site as well. But as we continue to hash through it, we may go ahead and put out there some of our beta test versions to look for some PEF input. But certainly once we get it finalized and we understand that this is how we're going to have others set up their Connect workspace to use ORD with the NCDOT, we'll certainly post that at the appropriate locations. But Oak, hearing all that, anything to piggyback on that response?
Yes, it's usually the turnaround time is when Bentley released their latest ORD version. It takes about 2 to 3 weeks for us to update ours and post it for you guys to update. But also remember that ORD or the workspace version checker that I showed you last. That's a quick way too to see what's being installed there. Usually, the first part of the name tells you what version of that workspace is designed to work with.
And I know everyone's, I know the roadway workspace is pretty far along, but as far as the other departments, is there any mechanism out there that's being posted on how far along they are, for hydraulic survey, where they're at in their development? Is that being posted also on the website, or is there going to be some communication on that down the road?
And Brian, the short answer is yes, that it will continue to post that information as it comes available. The longer answer is as we continue to work with everyone, Oak is doing a fantastic job of incorporating their workspace advancements and how they're setting up their individual unit and or disciplines to that. And we're trying to incorporate that into a singular DOT Connect workspace that can link to each of those. But they're all at different stages as far as figuring out specific to their unit. But Oak, again, if you want to expound upon that, please do so.
Oh, I've seen amazing, like I said earlier, there's other units besides roadway. I've seen location surveys with Emory, hydraulics with Brooke and her folks. Nick over there in structures has done amazing stuff in their workspace. And in the coming months, I hope you guys introduce yourselves to them and pick their brains a little bit and see what their visions are, what their teams are working on, and their challenges and their success stories.
Yeah, it sounds great. It's like a roadway would be like let's say version 10. Obviously, hydraulics and structures are behind roadway, so they're at version 5. How do you
No,
if you're like a
it's
hydraulics person, how do you know where you're at as far as development goes along?
no, that nomenclature, or when we say 6.2, that's everybody.
Everybody? Okay, that's what my point. Yeah.
Right.
So
No.
when you release it, everybody's at the same point. They're not.
Yes.
Okay,
Yes.
that's what I wanted to know. Yeah, thank you.
Correct.
Okay. Can I ask one other question? There was a question asked farther up in the chat thread. I deferred to the end. Someone had unzipped and installed the ORD workspace, and in the pull downs, they were getting the DOT US North Carolina in the first pull down, but the second pull down was only getting admin NC. They weren't getting the B0000 project to show up.
Yeah, we had a couple instances like that. I know Greg Kirby in the division had the same issue. We just couldn't figure out why that is. Sometimes it's locked at L3 for some reason. We don't know why.
Great. And just to jump in as facilitator, any other questions that anyone think of for today? And again, thank you so much, Oak. I want to personally thank you for all the work that you're doing with the department and for the department. Certainly a collaborative effort across the NCDOT. And just as a general statement for all the private engineering firms that are in attendance today, we are going to make a concerted effort in the months ahead and certainly in early 2021 to continue to reach out and let you know where we're at in the process and what the overall programmatic approach is for the transition in 2021 to really start using ORD rather than our MicroStation SS2, SS4 type files. But we're continuing to figure it out. It's a lot of pioneering work, and we appreciate everyone's support.
Thank you. Yes, NCLUG would like to thank NCDOT for the presentation and the consultant community, all the NCLUG members. It's a great presentation. We really appreciate it. I know it's a lot of hard work.
So we have a question. I saw a couple questions about the download. Where do I download the zip file? It's in Jeff's quick reference, ORD quick reference guide. I could have explained that a little bit more, but Jeff's ORD quick reference guide has a lot of information on how to download workspaces, the reason why we are pursuing this route. So here's a brief look at the quick reference document here. It goes into the background videos on how to download the zip file for workspace. Here's some tutorial videos, quick 1-minute videos, how to download, extract the files, create desktop, copy desktop icons, and all this stuff. Instructions on how to download and install the workspaces. So also too, here's the link here to download that zip file here. Our trainings work sets here. And we got training recommendation you can do on Learn Server to get started. All this can be done through our workspace. And there's a lot of information how you update your workspaces here and so forth. It also includes the FAQs on workspaces and work sets. So commonly asked questions of what is workspaces, what are work sets, and so forth could be answered in this quick reference document. So I advise you in a quick reference document that Jeff is very helpful.
Sure. And Oak, thank you for sharing that. And for the folks in the external community, we've been circling that internally at DOT, working on getting everything figured out. I know we'll certainly try to make that more available for external partners and maybe post that on our external site. But I'll work on kind of getting that cleaned up a little bit more in external facing. We keep doing versions and versions of it as we figure things out. And Dean, I saw that you got your hand raised in the app here. So Dean, you got a question, Dean?
Yeah, I'll just point out we probably got about 4 unanswered questions in the text right here. One's from Tucker, one's from me. I think there's about 4 there. Can we work through those just a little bit?
Yeah, we're here. I mean, anybody welcome to drop off, but we're here all day if you want us. I'm here. I mean, Jeff's a very busy guy, but I'm here.
I'll start at the top with Tucker's question. It says, what's the plan for quarter modeling template libraries? Will there be one per work set? The most recent download we did has the ITL defined to a specific location via a configuration variable.
Yeah, that's a good question. So we'll go in that in part 2, part 3, when we do quarter modeling templates and so forth. But to answer your question now, yeah, all templates are organized, and I can show you that in a workspace. I should have done that. So in your workspace here, your template library is more expansive here than it was previously in V8. So we have template library for almost anything, and I'm having to convert the hydraulic ditch templates now recently. Not NCDOT, it's under roadway. So our template library looks like this. We have templates from hydraulics to components, functional design templates, geometry templates, linear templates, specialized templates, standard templates, super elevation templates, surface template, and a work set ITL. And we have some structures template that we started working on, but found out later on it's not compatible with OBM. So we're looking at that. But yeah, by default, the configuration point to this library here. Now that doesn't mean you can't change. Once you're in the file here, you can always change a library and use that when you do quarter modeling. But the configuration point to this library as a default. And if you need to use a different library, just file open a new library, close it, and then do your quarter modeling, and you should be able to select the template from that library you just closed.
All right, thanks, so. Do you want me to just continue on with the questions just down the side here?
Oh, yeah.
Mike Taylor's saying, how often is the workspace zip file updated?
I told Randy about every 3 months, but there's incremental ones that I do maybe once or twice a week. It started out with 6.0, then it went 6.1 in 3 days. Then 4 more days, it went to 6.2. So the major one that's going from 6 to 7 is probably three months. And then the incremental ones, a day, a couple of days to a week on those.
And just to clarify and say that out loud, as we share that link to that zip file for the current process for using that zip file, that link will remain the same regardless of what version is up there, correct, Oak?
That's correct. The link in that documentation is always the same, but we update, the version.
All right, let me move us on here. My question was, has there been any additional conversations with the other states about a method of keeping us all on the same ORD version and switching at the same time to avoid the backward compatibility issues?
Well, good news on that. I'm glad you asked that.
Mm-hmm.
Bentley is looking at a way to able for you guys to downgrade, also upgrade 3 version behind. So the workspace issue, I think, can be eliminated. You know, we don't all have to be on the same ORD version or workspace version. There's a feature that they're working on that you can downgrade 3 versions behind.
That sounds good.
Yes, yes. I know that was caused a lot of heartaches for you guys because multiple DOTs on different versions.
Yeah.
And I think that could be eliminated now. And, you know, we're also, I say we're, but Bentley is also looking at doing side-by-side installation, meaning you can have multiple ORD installed on a workstation.
I sometimes have getting one to work. So.
Right.
Yeah.
All right. Big Brian Alford said, are the newly scaled line styles available in the Connect workspace that is on the site for download?
Yes, it comes with the zip. Yeah. And also take a look at that document too. You know, I mentioned those 4 documents there earlier. It should be dropped in your files area of the chat. But if
they're posted on the NCLUG website.
Yeah.
But
okay.
those are just static PDFs. So like you said, if you want to update it once, you probably need to go to the DOT website. But
yeah. So yeah, here's a custom line style V8 conversion rescale to connect procedure. So all these documents should be at the NCLUG. You download it. If you need it, we'll be happy to provide you with the documentations.
I see one more from Mike Taylor. It says, so I'm clear, no need for the ORD environmental variables with this ORD setup.
That is correct. I mean, the old way you had to set those environment variables and stuff. I was trying that at home. I couldn't get it to work. I said, if I couldn't get this to work, how do I expect the users there in the private firms to make this work? So yes, you don't need environment variables with this. Just unzip this file. It overwrites any files that it needs to and make a backup copy.
That's good because there is an issue with Windows 10 and permissions and environmental variables between users and admins on the machine, and it is causing some troubles with that.
Yeah, no more environment variables.
Oh, great. And Dean, thank you for reading through and go through those questions. Does that run through the list, Dean?
Yes, sir. I believe it does.
Excellent.
Thank you for staying oak.
Yep.
Excellent. And with that said, Brian, I'll turn it back over to you and NCLUG.
Okay. I'd just like to thank Oak for the presentation and just remind everyone this is a first part of a 3-part series. So stay tuned for the other parts of this presentation. We'll be sending out those registration emails as soon as they get them available. Just be sure to make sure you tell this to your coworkers and anyone in your organization if they want to participate in the presentations. And I think we give away the Amazon gift card. I think it went to Alvin.
Adam
Elvey. Okay. I think Patty sent that out. So I wanted everyone to know that was already given out. So with that, I think we'll just call that a wrap and thank everyone for their participation and look forward to the next 2 parts of the series.
Thank you, everybody.